Hello, and thank you for joining me. I am Krista Snow, coming to you from El Paso, Texas, right here on the border. 2 years ago, I decided to create a podcast of mini-series focused on outliers and the unique journeys we walk, because truly, we need each other. I've built a collective to dive into a variety of topics from healing and relationships to business advice and neurodivergence. My commitment to you is to bring you integrity and high quality, because I believe in people and their potential. So without further ado, welcome to this space where you can join the collective as we listen, learn the flip side, and ultimately level up our lives together. I'll be your host, and you're listening to the Level Up Podcast. Welcome to the Level Up Podcast. This is the first episode of the Narcissism series, and this is being recorded a year after Melissa and I recorded Narcissism. So Melissa and I are here today to preview the 3 episodes of the Narcissism series that we started recording a year ago. And this is what launches the Level Up Podcast. So I thought it would be amazing to come together and introduce ourselves, introduce how we even know each other, met each other, came together, and any of that, because we didn't do any of that a year ago. What we did is we aligned on a topic that was so important, and we jumped right in. We didn't introduce each other. We didn't talk about how we met each other. We didn't talk about our stories, our families. And this is where a year later we can look back and talk about what brought it all together, why we even came together. And this will be the first part of Narcissism that the world will hear when this podcast finally launches this fall after 4 years of working on it. So my beautiful Melissa is the first co-host that aligned. And I was building a podcast, a mini-series. I knew that. But I didn't know how I was going to do it. I thought I had to do it alone, and I wanted to give up. And there was just too many topics and too many things and too much to do. And Melissa came alongside as a friend that just experienced the same thing in a way that clicked. And if you know that click moment where someone just gets you, someone gets something that you say, and usually when you say that, other people don't get it, and someone does, that changes everything. And I'm building a podcast to fill the gaps for the outliers, the ones that fall through the cracks, the ones that feel forgotten. And Melissa is the first person who came alongside and said, I would love to help. And I would love to share my story, and I'm willing to share my story. And willingness to share a raw, vulnerable, real, authentic, ugly story, that's unparalleled in the world that we live in, because it's easy to surface talk. It's easy to stay on the surface level and not dig deep. And we dug deep. So Melissa, what I think about you is you're the first one that came into play. That's why you're it. You were perfect in all 3 of those episodes, and the hours and pages and writings of planning and blogs that we shared with each other and heart-to-hearts late at night. And you're stuck with me because of it. And that is the motto of Level Up. You learn, you listen, and you learn, and you level up, and then you stick around. And every single person that is a co-host on a series with me, from you with Narcissism to Leah and you on healing, to Jesse Diaz on immigration, to Carrie Arnold on parenthood and prodigals, to Denise Olivas on business. I have series in play with co-hosts that have aligned with me. And Melissa, you were first. So what I think about you is I don't think I would be here right now still doing this if you hadn't have come into my life. We'd be friends, but being friends and business partners and co-hosts and doing this life together at the level that we are with this kind of thing, is something that is extraordinary. And that's what I think about you. So why are you here? And why did you do narcissism with me?
Well, I don't know if you remember when we met, I was coming out of a dark time when I felt forgotten. I felt forgotten by my family, my friends. I felt forgotten by God. And
Really? I don't remember.
that was a really hard time. Really. I don't talk about it a lot. So, I mean, I guess, yeah.
Well, you
My
didn't. Yeah,
mom,
I'm sure you didn't.
yeah, because I think I went to my mom about this and that was about it. I thought, I think at some point in time, like we all feel forgotten about by our friends or by our family, by our loved ones. But I think what really stood out to me was the way that I felt forgotten about by God. And getting to that point revolutionized my life, completely changed. And in that, new people came into my life, and you were one of them. You are one of the people that helped me find my voice.
I never do that.
I so often let especially men tell me how I'm thinking, tell me how I'm feeling. And you stood up for me in a chat, and that said something to me, and it broke something inside of me. And I finally got to a point where I think enough was enough. And I knew something had to change. And so you helped me find my voice. You helped me find a way better because I was drowning. And it was like talking with you, I knew that there was much better out there than what I was allowing for myself. And at the same time that we were meeting, gosh, I mean, I was coming out of a relationship and it wasn't like looking back on it, it wasn't a serious relationship, but it affected me. It changed me. I learned and grew from it. And you're part of that because you listened to my story and you told me you're not crazy.
I did.
You did.
Oh,
And I needed that. I needed to be
someone
validated.
told me that. No, lots of people told me that.
Yeah.
Too.
And I think we need that. I think we need
Yes.
those people to come around us and tell us you're not crazy. Because, I mean, believe me, it wasn't the first time I had heard it, but it was the first time I had heard it from someone who wasn't my therapist.
Right. Right. My therapist tells me you're not crazy and I believe her, but at the same time, it's like, I need to hear it from someone normal,
Yeah, and someone who
not
sees
an
us in our
expert psychiatrist. Who
yeah.
like, oh, because I'm so
Someone
crazy.
someone who sees us outside of that, I'm going to say quote unquote clinical experience, right? So, uh that was huge, and I think that you helping me find my voice and being that person who told me I wasn't crazy bonded us for life. And, and as our friendship grew and we talked more and got to know each other more, you started talking about your podcast. And every time you talked about your podcast, there was like this, like, how do I explain it? Like this quickening in my heart and like this feeling of like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. You help with this. And I didn't know what that looked like. And, you were still figuring everything out. And then one day you asked me if I would join you. And it was like,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, that's right. Wait, I
yeah,
did. That's right. I think I just randomly asked you, like, hey, would you want to, like, do something. And you were like, oh, and I remember you saying something about the quickening or the stirring in your
Yeah.
heart that
Yep.
oh my gosh, I forgot about this. Wait, what? What
Yeah.
did I ask you? What did I say? I don't
You
remember this.
you came to me and you said that you felt like you had been praying about it a lot and trying to figure out what to do with the podcast, and you had really felt like God was telling you that I was supposed to be a part of it. So you came to me and asked me if I would speak about narcissism with you. And I knew I was able to answer you right then and there because I had already had all these feelings and been like, I'm supposed to be involved in this and somehow. And you asking me this was shortly after me figuring out, or well, me working on some things with God and finally understanding what my purpose is. And that's part of this, sharing my story and talking about the things that happened to me, because so many people get caught and stuck in this cycle. And and it's not just women. It affects men too. And we're all deserving of being loved for being ourselves and not having to be someone else's expectations of what we should be, because that doesn't work. And everyone is worthy of being loved and being cherished, being wanted, and feeling. It's hard to put into words because I know exactly what that feeling is, but just the contentness and not feeling like, what am I doing? What have I gotten myself into?
Mm,
And then
yeah.
eventually having those questions turn into, how do I get out of this?
Yeah. I want to create a couch for people to not feel the disarray and be alone. You can feel the disarray and brokenness, but you're not alone.
Right. Especially when this is something that affects so many people.
Yeah. If you could cliff note narcissism in why it affects or how it affects so many people, like what would you say? For me, it's destruction in a way that I never knew. How would you describe experiencing a narcissism relationship?
Being broken from the inside out. He found the deepest ways of breaking me.
Yeah, those deep insecurities and longings, using them against you. I would love to ask you a question. What do you feel level up is? Like, I'm building a podcast, but I think you and everybody knows it's so much more than just a podcast that I'm building. What is level up to you? Because you saw something in what I described about what I'm building that brought you to the table. What is that? Because you were the first. And I want that to be the first of many, not just co-hosts, which I already have, but I want that to be the first of everybody else that comes to sit at the table and feels welcome. You felt it. What is it in level up? How do you describe level up? What is that to you? I think it's going to be different to everybody, but what is it to you?
To me, it's hope. It's hope that there's a better future. Hope that it's hope that my kids don't fall into that same cycle. It's hope that I find a relationship where I feel valued and he feels valued, where we can truly be partners and love each other and create emotional safety and just safety with each other. And I want that for other people. So hope.
I love that. That is exactly what I want to be. I want, not me. I don't want me to be the center focus. I want Level Up to be a kingdom hub, the igloo where you can come broken, messy, sit on the couch and put it all out there, and you leave feeling better than you did coming in. Not more judged, not worse, not more guilty, because you are valuable, you are worthy, and you are enough. And I didn't know that until October 20th of 2022, which is why I want to launch this podcast on either October 20th of 2025 or December 24th, my grandma's birthday. And this is my first year without my grandma. She passed this last March. She was my best friend. And I know that this year it is time. And I want Level Up to be a beacon of hope. So I love that you said the word hope. And I also love the word, the when you said the word revolutionize, because my logo is literally Level Up. And the tagline is revolutionize with power.
It's beautiful.
Because you can't do it on your own. You have to revolutionize with help of other people, community, like-minded people, ones that build up, do not tear down. And you have to revolutionize with the help of the one true living God. That's who I serve. You don't have to serve him to come sit on the couch of Level Up to talk about things.
Yeah.
That's who I serve. And I just want people to know that no matter what they've done, no matter what they've been through, and no matter who they are, they can come to a place where they feel safe, seen, heard, and so, so loved.
Come be embraced.
Yeah. Like you always say, like the couch reference. You're the first one that said that to me. That really made me feel like that is exactly the depiction of what I'm trying to do, is come sit on my couch. Come sit on the couch with people all across the country, friends who know nothing about you and will love you no matter who you are. I'm creating a couch that looks like nothing else in the world we live in, because it's outliers. It is for the outliers, the ones who feel forgotten, the ones who don't know what to do next. That's where you need a hub of support, of people, of expertise, of education, and the power of God.
We all come with a story. We all come with a history. Every single person. It's unavoidable. That's the way life is. And in sharing your story and talking about your story, especially in safe places where you're loved, seen, heard, and accepted, healing, baby. That's what that is.
Yeah. The hardest and most beautiful thing you will ever do.
Absolutely. There was so much healing for me. I mean, you know, I was in therapy. I was doing the things. But even just you and I talking about narcissists and narcissism and sharing little bits and pieces of our story here and there was so much healing for me in that.
Yeah.
Things that, you know, I hadn't even realized, like, I thought, man, I'm good and done. And we know healing isn't a good, you know, a one shot and done thing, but I mean, I had done some real work. And I didn't think that opening up and sharing my story in the way that we did would be as healing as it was. And it shifted things inside of me.
That's how I feel too, because I feel like putting it out in the open, it just brings this freedom and living in the light, not burdened down by things that you think you should get over because you don't really understand it, and you're not trying to hurt anybody or tear anyone down, and you just want to get over it. The answer is not to not talk about it. The answer is to talk about it so that you do understand what happened. And that's the hardest part of healing, because it's easy to know how we feel, but processing those feelings is a whole new ball of wax.
Well, and sometimes, and this is coming from someone who didn't know how she was feeling. Sometimes you don't know how you feel, and sometimes you really have to get in touch with yourself.
Oh,
And
interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Because you shut down at some
I
points.
did.
Yeah, okay.
I remember being in therapy and telling my therapist that I remembered shoving my feelings in a metaphorical closet and closing that door and walking away from that closet. And so I
That's a
was
really good,
so,
depiction of how it is, basically.
I was so out of touch with my emotions, with my feelings, which led to me being out of touch with my body, that I had to learn all kinds of new things about myself. One of the things I really had to focus on is understanding anxiety and understanding my body and the way my body feels the anxiety. Where do I feel the anxiety? Sometimes I feel it in my gut, in my stomach. Most of the time, I feel it in my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, oh my gosh, yes.
needing to learn to differentiate between those two, because sometimes when you're feeling it in your gut, that's your body's way of warning you, hey, something's off here. And other times, like when I feel it in my chest, I've noticed that it's a lot of times where mostly my brain is recognizing patterns, and my brain is assuming or making connections to things without having all of the information. And then
Yes.
that's where a friend of mine, well, she's your friend too, Justine,
Juju's
our Juju
the
bear,
co-head of Level Up, not just a friend.
right? She's my little noodle cat. That's my nickname for her.
What Noodle Cat?
Noodle cat.
Okay, I love that. You said you came up with Noodle Cat, and I've just made Juju a thing after Andrew started calling her Juju and Cheeky Chat. I was like, okay, I love this nickname. Can we like make your nickname? Are you okay with it? Do you like it? Do you love it? Like, and she was like, I love it actually. And I was like, okay, you're my Juju's, like, because
Right?
I love Juju.
Yeah.
Yes, and Noodle Cat.
She's
Oh,
amazing.
I love it. So
Noodle
what did
Cat
she
came to
say?
me in the middle of the night, but she said, I don't even remember. It was probably something within dating, because I was doing all this dating, and trying to figure things out, figure out what I like, what not, all of that kind of stuff. And she came up with this analogy for me that is just so perfect. So she said, pretend you're at the beach and you've got your beach bucket. And as bits of information come in, they're like little pebbles. You can pick up those pebbles. You can look at them. Ooh, they're pretty, but if you don't have all of the pieces, we're going to put them in our beach bucket. And our beach bucket is where we sit it and let it sit until where we set it and let it sit until we have all of the information necessary to make definitive decisions about it.
I love that. That's a really great way to explain, like, how to encapsulate things fully before reacting.
Exactly.
If you don't have a full bucket, like, don't let the emotions take over.
Mm-hmm.
What
We're
is
not
truth and
gonna
what is not? Do not lie to
exactly.
yourself. Those are lies from the pit of hell if they are not true.
We want to respond, not react. And
Mm.
a lot of times to do that, you have to have more information than what you've just been given in the 30 seconds of information that you were just given. I still, to this day, use that. In fact, I used it. When did I go out to the theater? I went out to the theater Wednesday night and I had to use that.
Ooh, okay, like how? This is exactly what Level Up is built for. Situational stuff. What did you do? How did you use it? What happened?
So I was on a date with my boyfriend, and we were kind of discussing our next week and times that we might be getting together and some things that were coming up for each of our respective children. And there was something that I had been looking forward to and had wanted to go and support one of his children. And he had a moment where he was being pressured by different situations, different people, and needed to buy the tickets. And he didn't end up getting me a ticket. And uh, he, it wasn't,
It
sorry,
wasn't about you at all.
it wasn't about me. No, not at
Right.
all.
Right. But it feels like
Yes, through my trauma filter, it felt like
exactly.
rejection. It felt so familiar to
Is
my
you?
ex-boyfriend who would go out of his way to hide me
Yes.
from
He
his friends
purposely
and
leave
his
you out.
family.
Yes.
Exactly.
Same. Uh-huh.
Exactly. So
It's such a
I,
familiar
it was
situation,
so
but in the
familiar.
context, it's not the same. But it's hard
Exactly.
because that looks real similar to what has led to devastation in my past.
Yes. And so I had to take the information from him. He's explaining it to me, and I'm sitting there and I'm letting him explain it. And I realized in my mind, I'm sitting there and I'm holding a stone and I'm looking at the stone. And I said, okay, this is going in my beach bucket. And I sat there and I processed my thoughts and my feelings. And I, had to go through, okay, well, like, what do I know about this man? Well, first of all, this man is not my ex-boyfriend. I have met this man's family.
Right.
I'm here at the theater with him and his children. And
Right. So, given the context, we're
exactly,
looking at a very different story than your
very
past.
different. Exactly. And I know him. He he loves me. And it's different than love that I've felt like I've been in before. There's emotional safety in this. There's been healing in
Mm.
this. So I told myself as I'm holding this stone, this is a conversation that I need to have with him, but I can't have it now because the musical's going.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
so I
And you
put
can't let it like overtake your mind
right, and I couldn't let it
because
ruin the
exactly,
night.
but it's so hard to like I want to talk about this right now. Oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. Like, I don't know if you felt like that, but I could see myself feeling like that in that moment and not even being able to talk about it because like there's literally something happening right now.
Well, I definitely would have been like that, but I think that he and I have enough of a history that I know who he is and I know his intentions because that's one of the things that I'm very attracted to about this man is he's very intentional. And he has made his intentions very clear. Like
There you go.
I'm not left
So
guessing.
there's your answer. Every time you start to get like triggered is your reason just right there, right now that you just told me that preaching of truth to yourself in those
Mm-hmm.
moments.
I have to change my
Those
thoughts.
it's so hard to remember to do because we're like, but what about what is truth? What is not truth?
Exactly.
I feel like this. Okay. But did they do something? Like, what is the context? That is what I stuffed in a box for years. I feel a certain way and then be like, oh, I just need to let it go because it's not a big deal or whatever,
Yes.
And we don't have to do that.
Nope.
You say things. If they bother you, say it. Say
Yep.
it. Because stuffing it doesn't do any good. And also, stuffing it only makes the trauma for the next people in your life so much harder.
So much
Because
harder.
then you didn't deal with any of the trauma growing up or the trauma in the relationships post growing up, right? 18 plus. And now we're in our, like 30s, and here we are, like, in a completely different stage, reacting from triggers that have nothing to do with the stage we're literally in the moment. It is so hard to navigate that on the spot, though.
It is. But I will say it gets easier the more you practice it, because I was able to tell myself, okay, we can't have this conversation right now. But I was able to remind myself the truth about him and who he is, and say, okay, this is something I can put in my beach bucket, and know for a fact that I could go to him later that evening and have the conversation.
Exactly. I love that.
And we did. We had the conversation. And it's something as simple as, I'm going to be working during the time of this event.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably short notice for me to get time off work, things like that. And they're all valid points. And it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a different solution, different options. And we found a way to make it work for both of us.
And that's really what it comes down to, is when you are in relationships in your life, romantic or platonic or family or anything, when you feel safe, seen, heard, and loved, you can say how you feel or express how you feel, and you don't get shut down
Or attacked. Yeah.
And I think a lot of my trauma stems from constantly feeling like I'm not doing enough, because I was made to feel like I was never enough in a way that I've never experienced before. And it destroyed me emotionally. And I've never been destroyed emotionally. I could always hold my own and all of that. But being in that situation where I was so mind trapped and manipulated against my own insecurities, he used my own trauma, my insecurities, and manipulated me to trauma bond me.
Mm-hmm.
It is the hardest thing to explain, first of all, because you can't even explain why you're doing it. Like, if you would
No.
ask me 3 years, 5 years ago, like, why are you doing it? Like, this isn't healthy. I'm like, I don't know why. I feel stupid. Thank you. Like, I feel stupid. And that's what's hard, is when you're just at that point where you throw your hands up and you're like, I don't know why I'm doing it, because I feel stupid now. I'm an idiot and I can't even tell people the truth. And I don't know what's holding me to this person. I don't know how to get out of it. I don't even know how to respond. I've lost myself. And people lose themselves in the world we live in these days because of social media, and 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 the digital age has diminished the power of intentionality and human connection. So people don't have that. They have the likes, the comments, and then there's the toxic people that use that against you. And if you do not talk about it, if you don't know how to process it, if you don't even know what you're feeling, much less how to process it, much less how to heal from it, you end up destroyed. And no one from the outside would have thought I was destroyed, because I had a thriving career and a business network and a fancy job and all of this stuff going for me. But it was a face
Yep.
that I was putting on.
Because you're good at rallying.
Because, yes, exactly. And you lose yourself in that process.
Yep.
And if you're not strong enough to fight against it, like I wasn't, well, then you need help. Because not everyone was like me. When my boyfriend cheated on me the first time after less than 6 months, my sister was like, cheating's like a no-go for me. I mean, everyone's different. Like, that's just, especially after this timeline, like less than 6 months cheating, it's like, that's a deal breaker, but especially in this timeline. Well, my sister is an emotionally healthy person and knows her worth. I didn't.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, but what if? Well, but what? It's my fault. But I did these things. I contributed. And my trauma that I have to process these days, a lot of times, is the feelings of, but I caused it. And it's my fault. I always feel like it is my fault and I caused it. Because that narcissism experience of 3 years of my life destroyed me to a level I didn't even know possible. And I wouldn't have thought possible. And I would have probably called people crazy or thought I was crazy or stupid or whatever. But now that I've gone through it, it is awful and it's devastating. And I feel like that is what made me reach rock bottom, because for the one time in my life, I could not deal. I've always been able to deal business-wise and friends-wise and social and family. Like I've been able to keep up. But that one relationship destroyed me to the point that I didn't even feel worthy of looking for a job. And to feel like that, oh man, looking back now, I just want to hug that Krista 5 years ago. I just want to hug her and love on her.
Yep. Put her somewhere safe.
Yes, and that is why I'm here. And I think maybe the extraordinarily devastating experience of narcissism is exactly what led us both to this place, this time, for the very first series of Level Up. Because neither of us expected it. Neither of us even knew how bad it could be. The what ifs, or the second chances, or the letting things fly under the radar and not standing up to things. If we do not realize what's happening, we just fall prey. And that destroyed me in a way that nothing in my life has ever destroyed me before. So maybe that's why we're here, because I knew I wanted to tell my story, not just because of narcissism, but because my life has changed, leaving the corporate world and being an entrepreneur and living a life I never thought I'd be living, having a dog and like being a freelance consultant and not working a corporate gig. I don't even have health insurance. I did not expect this life. This is exactly the life I want, though, because I want to build a hub where people know that no matter what your situation is, you can show up and it's okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you look like, what you've done, who you are, where you come from. You can show up and you can listen and learn, or you can listen and not learn and sit in a corner and be mad and crunched in a ball. And I will come hug you for as long as you need. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but I want Level Up to be a beacon of hope, because this world does not show love, they show hatred. The only thing that will change minds and change hearts and make people understand that there is more to what their life is. If they're not happy, there is more. The only thing that will do that is people living love on display. I will go hug someone who hates me. I will do it in an instant. I will do it because I love them. They are worthy, they are valuable, and they deserve to be here on this earth. And they need to know that. And if no one else is showing them that, I will show them that. Because this world doesn't show them that. Even family and friends don't show that in ways. There are so many people that are just lost and need a couch to sit on and a pillow and a blanket and a safe place to like sit, even if they don't see anything. I want people to feel loved beyond humanity. And that, I think, is how I feel because of what I experienced with narcissism. It has given me a humility and an empathy for people and an understanding and a love that I did not have before I experienced that destruction. Because I always had an answer for other people. And they should just do this or you should just do that. I could not even explain how I felt. I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't help myself. And I felt controlled even by the friends and family that I did open up to, because they did one of two things. They told me what I needed to do, or they told me if I didn't do what I should do, they would stop talking to me. Right? And I understand that as well. Like, if you're not being treated fairly, then you're going to choose him, Krista. Sorry, I don't want to be in your life anymore. Because I chose that person who demolished me and destroyed me. And I didn't know why I was choosing him, but I chose him over my family and friends over and over and over. And I felt guilty and more guilty and more guilty. And the trauma I deal with today, 5 years later, still shows the impacts of all of that, because I feel so shameful and so guilty, because I feel like everything is my fault, even if I didn't do anything wrong.
Well, and you're being told that it's your fault.
That's why.
Yeah.
I've never been told that it was my fault to the level that I was until I was in a relationship with a narcissist. Because most average people, I mean, you talk about your faults and, I don't know, people get in fights and you use things against each other or whatever. Narcissism, I've never experienced anything like that.
Yeah.
It destroyed me. I was
Absolutely.
told enough to where I believed it, that I would never be good enough. And after growing up, being in my 30s, my early 30s, and then being able to be mind screwed like that, that's the power of what's out there. But I didn't know. And I felt so judged, so guilted, so shamed, and so misunderstood that I just want people to understand they don't have to feel like that if they feel like that, because it's not okay. It's not okay, but people don't know how to handle it. And now it's just a stigma, a stereotype, a buzzword, narcissism. Everyone says they've dated a narcissist. No one really understands narcissism. There's the official diagnosis, and then there's the word narcissist. Like, it's so complicated. But dating someone who was narcissistic brought me to rock bottom. And I've never known like that to be possible before then. He screwed my mind to believe I was worthless and dependent. And I let him do it because I already had my own insecurities. What makes narcissism different is that they see people's insecurities and they prey on them. So I had my insecurities used against me, as did you, the nastiest way. And it brings you to a low where you don't want to go on, because there's points in my life, and I told my mom this, like, I would never commit suicide. I would never do it because I wouldn't do it knowing that it would hurt my family more than it would hurt me. Like, I could never do it because taking myself out of the pain I feel is still not as much pain as I know everyone in my family that does love me would hurt. I told my mom I know I would never do that, but there are moments that if I didn't know that, I might have done it. And I have friends, I know people that have committed suicide. And no one expects when suicide happens, because the ones that are going to do it never said anything about it.
Yeah.
And that is the people that I want to be a beacon for, because you and I have experienced true narcissism. That is something that people don't understand. They can't explain it. They can't support it. They don't know what to do about it. So people don't feel loved. And then they just get forgotten. And they get left in a corner. And eventually they want to give up on themselves. I had community around me, loving me through my disaster. And so did you. And if people don't have that, that is what Level Up is for.
Yeah. It's beautiful. And it's so much better on this side.
It really is. But I remember the other side. I didn't know how good. It could be because I didn't remember what it was like to be happy. I didn't remember it. I literally felt such darkness that I felt like everyone in my life would be better off without me in it, because I felt like such a burden. I felt like the one that was just struggling all the time in silence.
I think I remember a couple of times, and if I didn't say it in the Narcissist series, I definitely say it in the next one where we talk about healing, where I talk about how never in my, or how I talk about how, like, I don't recognize the person I was to the person I am now.
Yes.
And
Same.
looking back on it now and just like thinking about where we were a year ago when we started this, like, oh my gosh, Krista,
Isn't it crazy?
night and day.
Like the growth and the journey and the healing.
And
And
just
it's so freaking hard, but it's so much better.
yes, so much better. And it's it can be a lot of hard conversations and feeling like I'm needing to advocate for myself. And that's hard, but it's so good.
Yes.
Especially when I met with love and acceptance.
Yes.
And I'm not saying like just in like my romantic relationship, but that's in like my family, my friends, my children, my job. Like it all just kind of follows.
Well, yeah,
And
exactly. Because that's where your alignment is. Yes. Like, yeah, when you are in the right place, me with level up, you with your job, like us with the different things in our lives. Like when you are met with love and acceptance, like you saying yes that random night when I was like, I don't know why I'm asking her this, but I want her to be on my podcast. I don't know if she'd be comfortable with this. I don't know if she's gonna like this idea or freak out. And you were like, yes. Like instantly you were like, not only yes, but like ever since you've been talking about it, I've felt this thing in my heart. And I was like, really?
yeah,
Like the alignment. It's not a right or wrong, good or bad moral issue or anything like that. It's where we're supposed to be personally.
yeah, 'twas meant
You
to
and your
be.
job and you and your relationship and with your kids and whatever. Like it's customized to each of us. And the problem with the world these days is that we all look at each other's lives and then try to puzzle piece ours to fit what we want that other people have when maybe we don't even have those skills or talents or that personality or that calling or anything.
Or the whole story, because I can promise you in my marriage, I did a really good job making it look like we had a great life because I didn't
Oh,
want the truth to come out. I didn't want my family to know how miserable I was. And social media makes it really easy to have that white picket fence life.
it really does. And I think it makes it easy to hide,
Mm-hmm.
especially now these days. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the problem is that there's too much fake, not enough real. So when the real does come out, it looks messy and gross and people are freaking out about it when, I mean, life's not all Skittles and rainbows. That's
No.
that's the bottom line of it. And if we could just live life together, holding hands, sitting in the dark with each other in the ugly, it would make things a lot different. But because of our trauma and everyone's trauma and the state of the world we live in with the digital age, like the lashback, the triggers, everyone's all riled up because not enough people are analyzing the truth, speaking truth to themselves, going through
Mm-hmm.
the process of react after you analyze. What's the actual story here? Like someone did that? Okay, well, and? Well, she made me feel okay, well, but did she do anything? What did she do? Like, right? Like you feel something because of something, but did she do something to you? I have had to walk down those situations in my own life, realizing there's so many things in my past that I've brought into my present and did not realize. And narcissism, being destroyed by a narcissist and then rebuilding, is what has had to like completely demolish the infrastructure of the belief systems that I've had in my mind for over 3 decades.
Yeah.
I've had to demolish them, go back, reanalyze, and then rebuild better.
Yeah.
And it is the hardest freaking thing I've ever done. And so that's why I want to
Absolutely.
launch this podcast so that everyone can get the Cliff Notes version of these things and not have to like deal with it themselves if they don't. Because man, Krista Snow always has to learn the hard way. I always like don't touch the hot stove, but I want to touch it because I want to know how hot it is. What's it gonna do? What's it gonna do? Like, whereas you know, my older sister is like, I'm not gonna touch the hot stove because obviously mom and dad are wise and they say it's not like I'm not gonna touch it. Like it's gonna burn me, and I'm that person that's like, in my mind, I'm like, but what if I do? What else is out there? And so because I've had to learn the hard way, I'm like, cool, now I'm building a ministry and a podcast and a whole empire to help people not have to learn the hard way, because there's a lot of us that can help others now.
Absolutely.
After learning the hard way, we can help others not have to do it. You and I listening to our podcast would have helped me so much 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that.
My pastor said something in a sermon, and this was years ago, so I'm going to paraphrase it to how I've always remembered it. One of the beautiful things about being in community is you can learn from other people's scars.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And it's impactful and it's true. And that's why it's important to talk about our story and to share. And that's why it's important to listen to other people's stories. And not just your peers. Listen to the generation before you. Listen to the generation that's coming after you.
And listen to the people you don't agree with.
Exactly.
Because just because you don't agree with them doesn't mean they don't matter. And it doesn't mean their opinions are not valid.
There's things to be learned from absolutely everyone around us.
That's the motto for Level Up. You have to learn how to listen.
Yeah.
So that you can listen to understand. And then you can level up. It's listen, learn, level up. But you can't level up until you've listened. And you can't level up until you've learned. Because people say what they say, but are we hearing what they're saying, or are we hearing through the goggles of our trauma?
Yep. Because that's going to be where it hits first. And that's why it's good to take a step back and analyze and think. Don't react first.
Yes.
Allow your feelings, feel your feelings because they're valid, but ask questions.
I think this is encapsulated everything that I'm trying to do. And it's the perfect conversation for the world to hear when Level Up launches this fall, because it is launching. It is going to happen.
It's here.
Rain or high water, whatever it is called. This thing will launch despite the roadblocks, despite everything continuing to fall apart. It will launch because I'm not going to give up. People need hope. And I wish I had a me when I was in college to tell me these are the things that you should be aware of. This is what this could lead to. Be careful about this because this is, ask this question because this could lead to this. Consider this if in your career because that would lead to that. And if you don't want that, then maybe consider this. Like having those people in your life, that is community.
Yep.
And if I can help impact the trajectory of someone's life in a positive way, every amount of work for the last 4 years I've put in to building this for $0 of pay. I will dedicate my life to help other people and continue doing it if I'm supposed to for free, because that's how important this is to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I had this kind of help, and it didn't exist when I needed it. So that's what we're building here with one series, and with all the other series, like with Leah and healing, and with Jesse on immigration, and people on business advice, and learning things like that in that realm, or parenthood. And like Parenthood and Prodigals is a series where the co-host is a lady that's a parent, and I'm a kid. She's a parent, I'm a kid, her kids are my age. Parenthood and kids, two totally different perspectives.
Absolutely.
I don't have a parent perspective. I want to know hers, and she wants to know mine so she can love her kids better. And I want to know hers so I can love any future kids best. And that is what community does. And together we rise with Level Up this year. If I have anything to do with it, we will launch, and this will be the first thing people hear.
I love it.
Me too. You were it. You were number one.
Whoop,
My very
whoop.
first series.
Doesn't it feel so good to have it behind and like
It does.
ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you have any final thoughts for the audience about Level Up before we end the episode?
I want to say one thing.
Perfect, because I have nothing, so.
Okay. We've touched on this so many times today in this conversation. You are valuable. You have value. You are wanted. Don't give up. Do the work. Show up. Even if you're just showing up for yourself.
There is hope.
There is.
I promise. There is hope. We promise. There is hope, guys, because, man, we didn't see hope in the darkness.
Yeah.
That was just with narcissism, but everyone has their issues of all different kinds of things. Darkness is not just what we experience. Darkness is any time you don't know how to go on, because you don't even know how to get yourself out of where you are or how you got yourself there in the first place.
Yep.
There is hope.
Yeah. Life can be so hard. Even if you're just taking one baby step forward, it's worth it. Because, yeah, life can be so hard, but it's so good too.
Yeah. I guess on that note, we welcome you to the very first series of Level Up Narcissism. Coming up next. Thanks for listening to the Level Up podcast. And the squad wants you to know that we're here to help. Feel free to email us at leveluppodcastsquad@gmail.com. If you have any questions or comments or feedback, we would love to hear from you. God bless, and we'll see you next time here on Level Up.